Okay, while I got time this morning, we're back with the next album review. Um, Today, like I mentioned in my previous reviews, I'm going to start moving on with more non-binary and queer artists. Want to set up the frame today to have the non-binary flag in the background, give a little bit of props. I'm grabbing a coffee. If anybody like, there's like Donut Palace, the white chocolate coffee is amazing. Okay, so I have my list of the track listing for Traumatic Livelihood by Jazmin Bean. Worldwide Torture by Jazmin Bean came out as like a 7 or 8 song track listing, and then around 2020, I believe, yeah, it was 2020, they dropped the full album with an increased track listing, including a cover of I'm a Slave for You by Britney Spears. One of the best covers I've ever heard. Incredible. Turned that pop song into like an industrial rock song, which was such a good twist on it. Still stands as one of my favorite albums of all time. Worldwide Torture, Jazmin Bean. This is their sophomore album, follow-up. Roughly about 3 to 4 years later. Starting us off with the title track at the beginning of the album, Traumatic Livelihood. Which still sets like the rock tone. Like this album's a lot more poppy, and they did say it was going to be more pop than their previous album, but it still has those rock elements and like industrial elements like kind of bleed through in certain songs. Traumatic Livelihood is one of the more popular ones. It's not my favorite cut in the album, but there's lines in it that stuck out with me when we listened today, like a line where they say something like, I'll probably never figure out if I'm a boy, or I might never figure out if I'm a boy or a girl, which, also being non-binary, I was like, that hits so real. But overall, it doesn't really matter how you define it, as long as you just exist and be chill and respect people. The sound of the song is amazing. It's a... You know what? I wouldn't say amazing. It doesn't blow me under the water. It's a good, smooth start to the album. It's not like my favorite on the album. And the next 3 are all singles, which I have already heard and kind of been sitting with for a while now. Piggy, Favorite Toy, and Terrified. Out of the 3, I think Piggy and Terrified are the ones I've heard the most and stick with the most. Piggy is like kind of a narrative song setting up the overarching narrative that comes with this album about how Jazmin Bean had like going over the story about how they have something abusive in their life that they're like, wow, you're a pig, I can't believe you. Favorite Toy is like kind of about like being used by people or partners, at least in my interpretation is how I take the song. And then Terrified is one that I feel like I understand the most out of these 3 so far, about like the trans experience of being terrified of, like, I wish I wasn't terrified all the time, but people who are so blatantly anti-queer, and especially right now anti-trans, makes it a terrifying existence to be trans right now, but you can't not exist, you gotta keep living, which is I think a theme in this album I like, is that like regardless of the scary things, you keep pushing on. Number 5 is This It? And then we go back to the newer songs. I feel like Is This It is one of my favorite newer ones that wasn't a single. It's pretty good. It does bring in more of that rock sound. It has what I consider like Piggy and Terrified to be one of the best choruses on the album. Really sticks with me. By the time after the verses stop, each time when the chorus drops back in, it's like such a rock drop of such a perfect plug-in for what you want out of like the building up to the chorus. The last single is I don't know if I can't remember if Traumatic Livelihood was a single like right before the album came out, but the last one I remember that came out, I know was a single, was You Know What You've Done, which I feel like is just like Piggy, like a specific call out to the person that Jazmin's talking about, like, you know what you've done to me. Then we get to some more new ones that I do really, really love. Shit Show and Fish, number 7 and 8. Shit Show, honestly, is one of those ones that I can't remember specifics about after I've just reheard it. I was on my 4th or 5th listen this morning of the album. But I do remember enjoying the sound of it. It's one of those ones I haven't gone in and dissected like really heavily yet. But I will on my revisits. Some of these songs do get kind of dense topic-wise, where even reading along some of them, I feel like I'm still kind of soaking it in with the sounds that are going on. There's certain songs like Is This It? And things like that where like I feel like there's like I hear like violins and different like other instruments where I'm like, whoa, I did not expect this from Jazmin. But Fish was one on revisit this time around, where I'm like, wow, this is one of my favorites, and it's a metaphor about how like I feel like a fish, like my belly's full of pebbles and I keep sinking into the abyss, like I can't get up. Um, which rolls into Black Dress, which is definitely one of the most somber songs in the album. Talking about like it opens with like all these rappers are dying of overdoses. Like I would sell, like, I guess I'm not selling my black dress because I keep going to funerals, which is a heavy topic. But I mean, since rap's like one of the biggest genres out, like it's really respectable for somebody who like Jazmin, who isn't in the rap scene, to talk about rap subjects and just the problem with drugs in the music industry as well. Even if it's not in their own genre, it's just a genre they observe or admire. I haven't looked at a lot of their personal life. I just know them through their music, which then led into Best Junkie You Adore. Sorry, which did have me kind of go look up some of the personal aspects, because I didn't know that either between this last album or this one, or I guess could have been during the last album, I'm not sure, that this brings up how their drug addiction and how they've been trying to overcome that. And how like this, I'm not having fun anymore. I wish I could stop this. I could slow it down, but I feel like I can't. Which was really heavy hitting, especially because I've known people in my life who have overdosed, or who've had drug addictions through my life, and you want to step in and try to help them, but you can only step in if somebody wants to change. So you can't force anyone to change if they have an addiction. But that's another underarching theme in this album is addiction. That song was really pretty, but it's not a good casual listen. Like if I'm going through the album track listing, I'm not skipping it. But if I'm on shuffle, some days if I'm not in a good mental headspace, I'm gonna have to skip Best Junkie You Adore. Sometimes I might skip Blood Brings Color and Fluorescence and Shit Show, which we'll get to the second one there. Number 11 is Stockholm Butterfly. This is one where I was reading along with lyrics as I got home, and I caught that they were like, even though I put you in jail, like, I still feel for you and I wait for you to get out, but I also want you to die, because I think my childhood heart would be so fulfilled by like the things you've taken from me and done to me. And I was like, god damn, this album does get really heavy. Like this is another one where like, beautiful track. Like I see the importance of both this and Best Junkie You Adore on the album. I don't think I will always be in the mental headspace to be casually listening to either of these songs. Number 12 is Charm Bracelet, which is one that is slowly becoming one of my favorite songs of the year. Like I mentioned in one of previous videos, next to Big Bang by Kenny Mason, that this song just gives such a that core like Marina Electra Heart vibes, which they've covered a few of their songs between the last album and this one, which makes so much sense for how the song came out. Like all the bad things that happened to me, just put it on my Charm Bracelet, just bring it with me and let it roll on. But it's so beautiful. It's such an amazing track. I can't. It's so infectious. I'm still thinking about it. I'll probably listen to it again on the way to work. Number 13 is Bitch with a Gun, which is all, like, I would say my top favorites out of this album is Bitch with a Gun, Charm Bracelet, Fish, Piggy, Terrified, and yeah, so far that's my top one. And Is This It? They'll probably be my top ones if I label it like right now. It has been off and on. I'll start falling in love with other ones, but yeah, that's my top ones as on this current revisit. Bitch with a Gun is like the reclamation of like, you may see the femininity in me as like weak, but I want you to know that like I will bring you harm. like you deserve pain for what you've done to me, and if I see you again, I might bring you that pain. Which it's pretty intense track, but it really brings in that. It's probably the peak of like that rock industrial, crunchier, heavy sound that they had on Worldwide Torture. That wasn't as intense on here. Like there was no song like Hello Kitty on here that was just like pure chaos, which I liked on the previous album, but I respect why it's not here. Like a tone that intense wouldn't fit on this album. And I like when artists change up their sound from album to album instead of committing to one sound and just kind of like staying with it through their whole career. Like it's nice to diversify and like let yourself branch out into sounds and kind of go on to new things, you know. Themes can stay over from albums to albums, but there's certain bands like Five Finger Death Punch and Disturbed where like I feel like they haven't changed their entire career. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. but it kind of sucks that it never really did anything that was vastly different from their first album. Anyways, I digress. That's my rock rant for today. Number 14, The Blood Brings Color and Fluoresce, is our outro. And yeah, I would say this is a decent enough serving outro. I feel like just like with Dramatic Livelihood, both the intro and the outro for me weren't the peak of the album. They were like kind of an ease in, ease out. And like, that's okay. It's just, for me, compared to the last album, that made it a little weaker. I see the importance of this song and the message of it be like, the pain and the things that have caused me over my life have made my garden. The body, like basically the metaphor, like the bodies of my garden bring life to it. Which is really cute, and being a mid-nature person, I love the morbid energy in this song, but also like, it is natural. People see like during war times when there's like a bunch of bodies in a certain area, like over time the body, like they ferment the area and kind of, I don't know if ferment's the right word, but you know what I mean, like the corpses of people can bring life to the area, so it's a metaphor on that, like these things in my past that may be dead and gone help bring to life what I am now, which is really rejuvenating and refreshing. It's a nice way to end the album. It's just like sonically, like Dramatic Livelihood hasn't hit me yet in a way where I'm really, really feeling it. But there's a good chunk of these albums a good chunk of these songs that ended up on my favorite songs of all times list, on my comfort songs list that I go back to and revisit. So yeah, this was a really, really beautiful album. I don't think it's a good casual listen in certain parts, but I do highly suggest it if you're queer, non-binary, and have people in your life that are, and even if you're not, it's a good rock album. It's a good rock pop album. Yeah. Let's see. I'm ranking like 0 to 5. I'd give this album like, say like a 4.5. Yeah, almost perfect to me. I feel like World Wide Torture is a perfect album to me. This one reaches there, but not quite. And then let's address what's coming next. So, new Ariana Grande is still coming. I'm going to revisit the deluxe songs with the album in full and let it flow all together in the next few days, and I'll give you an update on that. And then after that, depending on which I listen to first, or revisit first, either after that or before that, the next 2 albums are going to be Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine, and Tierra Whack, Worldwide Whack. So look forward to that. I'm a huge Tierra Whack fan. I was really happy with the new album, so I really want to delve into it and kind of nitpick it apart and then come back to talk about it. I feel like Worldwide Whack might be my longest review on the channel compared to the other videos so far. So yeah. Let me know in the comments if you like this album, if you've heard it, if you haven't, if you're a fan of like pop, rock, industrial music, any other albums you think I would like. Hope you're all having a good day, and I'll see you soon.